Ordaining married men to the priesthood would be a major change to Catholic tradition, even if only in the Amazon region. The national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, Christopher White, is also standing by at the Vatican. He joins us now. Christopher, thanks for being with us.
Good to be back with you, Tamara.
As we mentioned, married priests in the Amazon could happen if the Pope agrees with the summit's recommendations, but only under limited circumstances. What's the background? And if the initiative proves successful, could it set a precedent worldwide?
Well, that's right, Tamara. In the Synod document that was approved on Saturday, the Synod Fathers recommended to the Pope that under certain conditions, specifically in remote regions of the Amazon, that the pathhood to the priesthood be made open to those who are already deacons. Again, this is limited to certain regions. Now, some of those participating in the Vatican Summit said they had hoped for a more universal approach to this issue, but the final document expressed caution toward that, saying further study would be needed before any sort of universal principle is applied.
Let's turn to another hot button topic, women's role in the church. The Pope is reopening a study of women deacons. Didn't he already do that? And what's the difference now?
So that's right. In 2016, the Pope commissioned a study of both lay individuals and religious to study the historical question of women deacons. That study submitted a report to the Vatican that has been under review by the Vatican's Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith, which is sort of the major theological advisory body at the Vatican. That report has again just sort of sat there, but the Pope has promised further study with additional members, both to look at the historical issue of whether or not women have served as deacons and in sort of what capacity, and also sort of theologically what implications would that have for the future. So while the former commission was perhaps a bit more historical, this one is in theory more future-minded.
Now, Francis had some strong words during a mass celebrating the end of the summit. He called out certain groups. What did he say?
Well, the Pope, both on Saturday and on Sunday at the final Mass, called out, those who he described as sort of elites. He used the gospel of the Pharisee to say those that are obsessed with their own virtue without being mindful of their neighbor have a lot to learn from specifically the poor. And in the context of yesterday's homily, he specifically said the poor of the Amazon have a lot to teach the global church.
Now that the highly anticipated meeting is over, was it successful, and can you tell us what happens next?
Well, I mean, the fact that the final document was overwhelmingly approved, they had to vote paragraph by paragraph, and each paragraph received over a 2/3 majority vote. So that in itself is something new. Pope Francis has held 4 synods, and none have received the sort of full-throated endorsement that this one did. Now it's up to the Pope to decide what's next. He's going to pen a final document. He says he wants to do it by the end of the year. So he's going to take all of these recommendations, of which there are many, and he gets the final word.
Christopher White, the national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, thanks for being with us today from the Vatican.
Good to be with you, Tamara.
If you're watching Currents News on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button and then click on the bell to get instant updates about all of our newest content, because we are putting your faith in the news.